Another major Canadian retailer is closing its doors for good. 66 Future Shop stores across the country will be shutting down. Another 65 are being converted into Best Buys.
Every minute, somewhere in the world, a local brand closes its doors for the last time. Not always due to a lack of love or demand, but often overshadowed by the towering presence of corporate giants. Today, we're venturing deep into the mechanisms that allow these behemoths to dominate the marketplace, often at the expense of the small, community-centered businesses that add color and character to our neighborhoods. Stick around as we explore the strategies, the impacts, and what it means for consumers like you and me. In the vicious world of business today, it's like companies are playing a game of hungry hippos with their own products. Yeah, that's what some folks call corporate cannibalism. It's like when a company does stuff that kind of sabotages its own products or services. It's getting pretty common these days as everyone's trying to outdo each other in the corporate world. While some people reckon it's just part of the game to stay on top, others are waving red flags, saying this could backfire big time, hurting customers and the company itself in the long haul. You know how companies are always racing to hit those big money goals every few months? Well, that rush can sometimes push them to eat their own tail, figuratively speaking. They might cut corners or pull some moves that end up backfiring on their own products or services, all in the name of boosting those sales numbers. And then there are those that go a bit overboard, trying to stomp out the competition or keep their top dog status by any means necessary. While these tactics might give their profits a nice little bump in the short term, they're playing with fire. Down the line, this kind of self-sabotage can really mess up a brand's image and make customers think twice. Plus, getting too caught up in these games can make a company drop the ball on coming up with new ideas or keeping up with what's fresh and needed in the market. Let's see some of the different causes of it and their implications. Lack of innovation. When companies don't keep things fresh and fail to ride the wave of change, they risk becoming about as relevant as a floppy disk. Without new ideas, they might start turning on their own products just to cling to their spot in the market. Take Kodak, for example. They were the kings of the photo world but didn't quite manage to update their playbook. Before they knew it, they were playing catch-up with the likes of Canon and Nikon, who zoomed past them with innovations Kodak just couldn't match. Internal competition. Sometimes a company's biggest competition is actually from within. Just like different teams in the same company going head-to-head, kind of like siblings fighting over who gets the remote. This internal tug of war can lead to decisions that might not be the best for the company's big picture, like launching a new product that's so cool it starts eating into the sales of something else they already sell. The result? A dip in the overall cash flow, kind of like cutting your own cake and eating it too, but ending up with less cake. Pressure from shareholders. Have you ever noticed how sometimes companies act like they're in a mad dash because their shareholders are breathing down their necks for quick results? This pressure cooker situation can lead them to make some hasty moves that don't exactly scream thinking about tomorrow, like slashing costs in ways that make their products or services kinda me. It's like trying to sprint in a marathon. Sure, you might get ahead for a bit, but chances are you'll run out of steam before the finish line. Now, let's pause for a moment. If you're finding this discussion enlightening, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Destructive rent-seeking. When those fresh small businesses start to tumble, it's a big deal, especially since they're the backbone of job creation in the big leagues. Like industrialized countries, they're the ones giving gigs to loads of folks who didn't go the college route. And when these jobs start drying up, people get frustrated. That frustration? It's part of why we saw folks throwing their weight behind big shakeups like Trump getting elected and the whole Brexit saga in those heartland areas. Now, when a few big players start holding all the cards, they don't just sit back and chill. They double down on getting more, pulling strings, hiring an army of lobbyists and PR wizards to make sure they stay untouchable. Not exactly the recipe for a healthy economy, right? Growing service firms have higher fixed costs. So when companies decide to dive into new markets, they don't hold back on splashing cash on the big stuff. Think fancy offices and all that research and development policy. Basically, getting bigger and selling more means they can afford to spend more up front and still keep their prices cool and competitive thanks to the whole economies of scale vibe. It's like the more they grow, the better they can make their services, which is a win-win for us customers. Diving into the world of finance, take payment processors for example. These guys are the middlemen who play pass the parcel with your money from the store to the bank. They face hefty bills for keeping everything running smoothly, from tech gear to keeping your data safe. But as they get bigger and serve more people, their costs per head drop, making life easier for them. And guess what? Because scaling up saves so much dough, expect to see a bunch of these companies joining forces in the future. It's all about getting bigger to serve you better, without breaking the bank. Short-term thinking. You know how sometimes companies get a little too obsessed with making a quick buck? That's like setting themselves up for a bit of self-sabotage. They start slashing costs left and right, thinking it'll boost their profits. But all it really does is mess with what they're good at. Before you know it, the stuff they're selling isn't up to snuff anymore, which is a total bummer for us customers. And as you can guess, that's not going to keep people coming back for more, leading to a slip in how much of the market they've got a grip on. Although this could appear to be a wise commercial decision, it could have negative effects on the participating companies, their staff, and the industry as a whole. These are a few of its effects. Job losses. So, when big companies start gobbling up or outdoing their own products, it often leads to a not-so-fun side effect: job cuts. They're all about trimming down costs, which means saying goodbye to crews they think they don't need anymore. The crew from the smaller companies really feels the pinch, facing layoffs or seeing their pay and perks shrink. And just when you think it couldn't get rougher, the big company might decide to ship jobs overseas, adding more salt to the wound. Brand dilution. The little guy's brand might get a bit lost in the mix when a big fish scoops up a smaller one. The big company might decide to slap its own label on everything, or give the smaller company's offerings a new name. This can really throw customers for a loop, messing with their heads and loyalty. If folks start scratching their heads wondering where their favorite brand went, you bet it could start hurting the cash flow and bottom line. It's always been like taking the competition off the board when a big player in the game snaps up a smaller competitor. This could mean the big company ends up calling the shots on prices for certain stuff, which might not be great news for us wallet watchers. Plus, with fewer companies duking it out, there's less push for anyone to get creative and shake things up with new and cool products. Loss of innovation. When a big company takes down a smaller one, it's kind of like they inherit a treasure chest of cool ideas and tech the little guy was working on. But here's the catch. The big company might not be as jazzed about these innovations or might not quite have the knack to take them to the next level. This could really put a damper on the whole industry's vibe for coming up with new stuff. So why and how are corporate giants destroying local brands? The answer is multifaceted, involving strategies that range from undercutting prices to influencing policy. Yet, understanding these dynamics is the first step towards fostering a marketplace where local brands can not only survive, but thrive. Now, over to you. What do you think can be done to support local businesses in your community? Are there local brands you love and want to shout out? Share your thoughts and stories in the comments below. And if you believe in the power of local, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.